Let's say I want to fetch the total salary of employees. To do this, we will sum all salaries by using some aggregate function. If you precisely look into the table, 2,800 is the minimum salary. To find this using SQL query, you can use min aggregate function. Similarly, you can use max aggregate function to find maximum salary. In same way, there are multiple aggregate functions in SQL Server. Remember that group by clause always work with conjunction of these aggregate functions. To simulate this concept, let's consider a scenario. Let's say I want to fetch total salaries of all employees of each individual city. For now, we are using this sum aggregate function just to find total salaries of all employees in table. To get the sum of salary city-wise, select City column, sum of salary column with an alias total salaries. An alias in SQL is a temporary name assigned to a table or column in a SQL statement. And finally, the group by clause followed by the required column based on which we need to group data from TBL person. Press F5 or hit execute. Here is the city-wise salaries of employees. If we do not use group by clause when we are selecting city column, SQL Server throw an error because it does not understand how to use this city column with aggregate function. Therefore, city column is invalid in select list. To prevent this error, you should either have an aggregate function applied on that column or that column should be a part of group by clause. Let's take this scenario to another level. Let's say I want to fetch salary city-wise as well as gender-wise. We just have to add gender column in select list to implement this scenario. Press F5 or hit execute. We again getting the previous error because we neither applied any aggregate function on gender column nor we specify it in group by clause. Therefore, gender is invalid in select list. We want to group by first by city and then by gender. So, just specify gender column in group by clause after city. Here is the final result of our query. If you want to order the result, just use order by clause and specify required columns. You can modify group by preferences just by switching columns order in select query and group by clause, but most probably it will return the same result. Let's complicate this scenario even more. Let's say I want the total number of employees city-wise as well as gender-wise with previous results. You may use count* to find counts of records in a table. But from performance perspective, column name within count function is recommended. In our case, we need count of male and female for each city. So, just specify a column within in count aggregate function with an alias total employees within square brackets to prevent any error due to space between total and employees. Press F5 or hit execute. Here you can see the required result. If you want data only for male, you may filter it using where clause. You can do the same using having clause. Remember, having clause always work after group by clause. Here, you can see the same result. So, what is the difference between where clause and having clause as we are getting the same results? The answer is that these two clauses have different working strategies. In first query, all records are fetched, then filtered by where clause and then group by clause is applied. In second query, all records are fetched, then group by clause is applied and then result is filtered by having clause. In short, in first query, result is filtered even before the aggregation, and in later query result is filtered after aggregation. Moreover, we cannot use aggregate function directly in where clause. Let's simulate this with an example. Here, I am getting an error. But when I am using aggregate function in having clause, it is successfully executed. Third difference is that having clause only work with the select operation, but where clause work with all select, read, update, and delete operations.